What's going on, Bully fam? It's your boy, the educator, the scientist, Mr. Double Muscle Line Bulls, bringing you guys another episode of Breeders Hacks. So sometimes this happens where you have multiple females, right? Multiple dogs that are ready to be bred. They're in heat, and you only have, say, one stud dog or maybe two stud dogs, but a very small amount of stud dogs, and you need to get all these females pregnant. It could be 1 to 2, 3, maybe even 4 different females that you have, and let's just say you only have one stud dog. So I'm going to share with you guys what vets would do, a reproductive specialist would do, so that you guys know what to do if you're ever in this kind of jam. All right, I'm going to show you guys right now.
I got you right now. What's going on, Bully fam?
So what I'm going to show you guys is how reproductive specialists, how reproductive vets would go about a situation like this, right? So let's just say, for example, you had 4 dogs, right? And these 4 females were ready to be bred, right? And they were all ready to be bred roughly around the same time, right? So what would you do, right? First of all, let's just say they're all ready to be bred. So we only have one stud dog, one male that's actually old enough and ready to be bred. There's some things we need to know, some rules when it comes to breeding that we need to know first, right? I'm gonna let you guys know right out the gate, this is very possible. This can happen. You have a kennel, or you have a bunch of dogs or females, whatever the case may be, and you plan on breeding them to your one male, and they all come into heat at the same time. That happens quite frequently. Female dogs will sync with each other's heats. Their heats can get synced with each other. So all these females come into heat and they're all ready at the same time. So there's a few options that you have, right? So the first rule that we need to know and understand is that for a viable breeding, right, in order for a female to get pregnant, depending on the country that you're in, the US, I believe the number is a little bit higher. In the UK, I believe the number is a little bit lower. And now these numbers are also consistently changing based off of the research that we've been finding. So generally, you want to have at least 100 to 200 million sperm cells per breeding. So for one breeding, you want to have 100 to 200 million, right? And that's per breeding. So if we got 4 dogs, right, and we all needed to breed them roughly around the same time, we would need 100 to 200 here, 100 to 200 here, 100 to 200 here, and 100 to 200 here. Now I'm going to share with you guys an example of I actually had a situation where we had to do this. And I'm going to show you guys right now, this particular dog, for example, this stud dog right here. When we, and that's why it's so important to have something like this, guys, right? A photometer or some kind of device that gives you an accurate reading on your sperm counts. When we did the sperm count, we found out that this particular male gave us around 800 million. I want you guys to also be mindful. Some people will say, oh, my dog throws 1 cc. My dog throws 4 cc's. None of that really matters as much. It really doesn't matter. We're not worried about volume. We're worried about the actual sperm count. We're not worried about, if the dog throws 1 cc, 2 cc's, 3 cc's. Because a dog that throws 1 cc of sperm, this right here, this dog that throws maybe, let's say this is 1 cc, right? And then there's another dog that this is his sperm, and he threw us, say, 4 cc's. This dog that threw 1 cc of sperm, his ejaculate was 1 cc. If this was, let's say we do the sperm count and it comes out that this dog, in 1 cc, there was 900 million. And then when we took this 4 cc's and we put that under our evaluation, our photometer, and this told us that the 4 cc's was actually 200 million. Well, which dog gave us more sperm cells? Which is what's going to get the female pregnant? The one that gave us 900 or the one that gave us, 200 or 400 or whatever? Even though this is only 1 cc of volume, it's more concentrated. It has more sperm cells in it. So back to what I was getting at, right? 800 million right here. This is what the stud dog gave us, right? So if we do a little bit of math, we can figure out how we can take this 800 million and divide it amongst these 4 dogs and get them all pregnant, right? So say we have this 800 million that our stud dog threw, right? And let's just say, for example, well, he threw us 4 cc's, right? 4 cc's, 4 mLs. What that looks like is basically, a syringe like this, and it was about 4 cc's, 4 mLs. So we took that 4 cc's, 4 mLs, and we took 1 cc and gave each female 1 cc through artificial insemination. And what ended up happening, in a few months, we actually found out that 3 of them were pregnant and had puppies. 1 of them didn't get pregnant, but that's usually what happens in dog breeding. You know, not every single dog gets pregnant, but we were able to get 3 out of the 4 pregnant because we knew that each dog, if we took 800 million, right, and we divided that amongst 4 dogs, that means that each dog got 200 million. So we were able to inseminate all 4 dogs at one time with 1 collection off of this stud dog. So that's what reproductive specialists would do, a vet would do in a situation like this. That's why it's so important to be able to get proper semen evaluations done so you know what you're doing. Because now let's just say this dog in particular gave us less than 800 million. Say this dog only gave us 100 to 200 million. Well, at that point, we're in a little bit of a predicament because we can only use that on potentially 1 to 2 dogs. If this dog, let's say hypothetically, he only gave us 200 million, we would only be able to use this on 2 dogs. So unfortunately, that's what we would have to do. And then maybe the next day, I would use it on the other 2 dogs. That's why semen evaluations are so important because, like I said, understanding your numbers. The most important thing, what you need to know and remember is 100 to 200 million per breeding. So even if, for example, you're breeding your dog and the stud owner ships you semen, or you're doing a live breeding, whatever the case may be, this is what you want to see. Anything less than that, your chances of the breeding taking drop significantly. So I just wanted to go over this scenario because sometimes situations like this do happen. And actually, there's one other pro tip I'll share with you that you can do as well, right? Say these females are coming up, like we know they're going to be ready to be bred soon, but we don't know quite when. What I also could do is I could collect my stud dog, use some really good extender, right? Like the extender that we sell on our website. And I could collect this dog and save his semen days in advance. If you're doing a progesterone test, right? And that's why I'm such a huge advocate for progesterone testing. If you're doing a progesterone test, you're going to have an idea your female's when she's roughly going to be ready to be bred. So what could you do? Well, I could collect this stud dog and save the semen, put it in a collection box, right? Use some extender, and it'll last, 5 to 7. I've seen it last all the way up to 10 days. So we could do some collections prior to this breeding when they're already at the same time, and use some semen that we saved prior. So now, for example, if I only had this 200 million and I had some semen sitting for a couple of days inside my box with extender, I would do my live breeding with 2 females, and then I would take the semen that was saved in a box and breed it to the other 2 females. This is just something that, like I said, I want you guys to understand because you could come into a situation like this. So just some simple math yet again. Let's play out one final scenario so that hopefully you guys can understand this, right? Say our stud dog gave us 400 million and he gave us 4 cc's. How many breedings could we do with that? And you can pause the video and do the math, right? I want you guys to really think about this one. So after pausing the video and doing your math, if we had 400 million and it was 4 cc's, right? This is the volume. This is the syringe. I have it right here, right? So actually I want to show them so they could see, like, this is what the syringe looks like. So it would be here. This is how much semen we have, right? 4 cc's. If we have this syringe and it's 4 cc's and we have 4 dogs, and we know that out of these 4 dogs, we can use 100 to 200 million. That means that each dog could potentially get 100 million. So we could take that, and each cc, each where the line is, right? Because there's a 1 here, 2. So in between the 2 and at the starting would be 1. This would be 1. Each dog would get 1 ml or 1 cc, and that would be enough to get them pregnant as long as the sperm looks good. So that's just one example. Yet again, if it was 800 million, you could give each dog 2. And if it was even more, even better. But I just want you guys to understand that simple math, 100 to 200 million. And it's not absurd. It's not crazy to ask if you're breeding to a specific stud dog. Say, hey, have you had his semen checked? What is his normal sperm count? Because I've also had scenarios where a stud dog sends me semen and I only have 1 female in heat, but I want to be able to split it so I could do 2 breedings. So what do we do? Well, I check the sperm count because I have my own photometer here to check the sperm count. And say the dog gives us 400 million. Well, I'll maybe put half of the semen in on that day, and then the next day or skip a day, I might put the other half in. So you can get creative, but you need to understand your numbers first. And this would drastically change, for example, if I only had 2 cc's. What you can do is add extender, so then these numbers, the volume versus how much is here, it makes it easier to do the math. Anyway, guys, I hope this information is helpful. I hope it's useful. If you want me to dig deeper into this, drop a comment down below. Let me know. But as always, like I said, drop a comment and let us know what your experience is with something like this. You know, did it work out for you? Did it not? And so on and so forth. So anyway, I'll see you guys on the next episode of Bruce Hacks. All right, guys.